again, it's hard if anyone has experienced this, I'm sure you know, it's hard to totally put into words, but I just saw him in the vision. I saw me bringing our generation back to the table. And I didn't totally know what that meant. But the only thing I heard in this vision, I guess I'll call it, is it's called gather.
Mhm.
And I woke up the next morning.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, this is what you called me to. I'm going to buy the URL. I'm going to buy the LLC. I was like, the name, there's something there.
Yeah.
And it's taken a lot of different shapes. I feel like the easiest way to explain it is I knew then that my whole call and purpose in life changed. And that's when we decided to come back. Well, so many layers to this, but
I know. It's all stories just have a little bit
yeah,
more that can always fit into podcast time, but
yeah.
even in with what you're just sharing, I
Mm.
just love the way you lean into the Lord and you like you said, you're like, "I'm driven. He gave me the vision. I woke up. I bought the LLC. I bought the website or all of that." And you moved forward. And I feel like just from knowing you personally, um, I've always been in awe of how you're able to open up yourself to God's given dreams. Like you dream with the Lord. Am I correct in
Yeah,
saying that?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that requires a certain level of deepness and trust with him. Like that kind of relationship just doesn't like. 'Cause I know back in Bible times you read it in scriptures like someone gets thrown off a donkey and like that works out. But I feel like now that's something that you have to cultivate. And I'm wondering, it might be hard to put into words, but do you feel like there is something, a practice that you have, whether it's in your spiritual life or that helps you cultivate that through every part of your journey?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure that I have an answer that maybe you're expecting, but my first one would be go to the missions fields because there we learned this a few months in being on the missions fields, or maybe we could even say just like on mission with the Lord.
Mhm.
It bubbles up stuff in you. There is
Yeah.
such a it's like a pressure cooker of stuff just like coming to the surface. And, in Thailand it was like different culture. Everything was challenged, and it just forced a depth with him. And I remember a few months in our sending organization leaders, there was like heart stuff coming up, and it was the first time that I've had to walk with the Lord like this. And they were like, "Listen, there's two options. You go back to the States or you stay here and you do the heart work." And for us, like, the heart work also meant, like, spiritual work too. And it really, I'll say forced, invited that,
Mhm.
just like an authenticity and vulnerability. And then honestly, like, this whole walk with, like, Gather and the many faces that it's had, I just felt like God hasn't given me an option to quit. And
Wow.
it's like, honestly, I mean, you and I have talked so much.
Yeah.
It's like we've had some pretty brutal seasons like you and I with just our,
Yes.
different things. And I just have really never felt, I don't know how to explain it, like a permission. And so that's kind of forced slash invited
Yeah. I mean,
a
I
depth
hear
with him.
that. I mean, we have
Yeah.
talked about that a lot, and but I've said to you very honestly, like, I think it's time for me to go. I think it's time for me to quit. And then I actually get frustrated by when you then sit down to read your Bible, it's your devotional time, and you go to a place in the Bible where God tells someone else not to quit in the story, and or you sit in church the next day and that's what the pastor's talking on. So those are the things that'll happen, and those are the things that I'll be like, "All right, so you're telling me just to hang in there a little bit longer." I mean, we all have peak and valley moments as ministry builders, business owners, and I mean, some of those peaks are really, really low. Both know they're filled
Yeah.
with just such a deep disappointment, and you wrestle with the Lord in those moments, and you don't wanna be wrestling with them because you feel like almost like there's, like, an element of shame that swings into it, which is really, really hard, and that can take root if we're not careful, and I know that we both have experience of this with this. Is there a way that you can maybe walk us through maybe one of those instances? You don't even have to be specific, but what the Lord showed you in the midst of all of it that allowed you to say what you just said, like, "All right, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep moving forward with you, Lord. Like, I'm gonna one foot in front of the other here."